Throughout human history, there have been stories of beings that ascended human consciousness. Among these beings, Thoth must be the most enigmatic and the most revered of them all. Thoth, the ibis-headed sage of ancient Egypt. Thoth is a teacher that gifted humanity a multidimensional understanding of reality. Egyptian lore describes him as a living intelligence, not just a god. So he's present at the dawn of creation during Zeptepi, which means the first time. This is when the cosmos was still manifesting into form. Now, if you're into history, then you must know that the Edfu texts are a collection of ancient Egyptian inscriptions carved into the walls of the Temple of Horus. This is in Edfu, southern Egypt. The Temple of Edfu was built during the Ptolemaic era. It houses mythic historical records that preserve older priestly traditions. We're going back thousands of years before dynastic Egypt. I remember my video on the Pyramid of Giza last year ruffled the feathers of a few Egyptologists. So at Edfu, Thoth is drawn as one of the divine builders who raised the first temples. Yet his origins are so mysterious. Like, where did he come from? Where did he originate from? Was he spoken into being by the sun god Ra, as the ancient legend claims? Or did he self-generate like Ptah, the Egyptian god of creation? Ptah is associated with manifestation, with creation through intention and the spoken word. Or was he a primordial deity? So he came before time, before the physical universe, a being of the multiverse. Or was he a mortal and through mastery of the sacred science attained immortality and remained among humanity as a guide? For the Egyptians, Thoth, also named Jehuti, was the embodiment of wisdom, the keeper of cosmic order. His name is untranslatable in Egyptian. Some alternative researchers have linked it to the Sumerian phrase, the breath of the bird of life. So much is attributed to Thoth: hieroglyphics, mathematics, astronomy, sacred geometry, alchemy, the study of the cycle of stars, the architecture of the physical and metaphysical worlds. Even Pythagoras, the father of Western science, born in Samos, Greece, he claimed that Thoth appeared to him under the Great Pyramid and initiated him into the geometry of the tetrahedron. Could we say that Thoth is a transmitter of universal law? One of my favorite thinkers ever is Drunvalo Melchizedek. He's a physicist slash a mystic slash philosopher, polymath, like I can't even label him. This one time I watched a series of his 37 lectures and each lecture was 3 hours. It's safe to say that his lectures changed me. Drunvalo said that the maxim, as above, so below, is attributed to Thoth. This means that the macrocosm and the microcosm mirror each other in all planes of reality. Thoth taught Drunvalo the flower of life. This is one of humanity's oldest and most universal sacred symbols. It begins with a single circle and it becomes a Vesica Pisces. My compass is not cooperating, I'm just gonna attach the image. This eventually expands into a 6-petaled seed of life and eventually the symmetrical flower-like grid. It represents interconnectedness, it represents oneness. It is considered the foundational blueprint of creation. To put it simply, it contains the codes or the frequencies that underlie reality. It contains the laws of physics. I call the flower of life the cosmic template for how consciousness becomes matter. And Metatron's cube is inherent to the flower of life and vice versa, but I'll discuss this in another video. The flower of life is actually etched into the temple of Osiris at Abydos. If Giza is here, Abydos is more south of the Nile. The thing about Thoth is he is cloaked with mystery. Like, some traditions reach even further back than Greece and Egypt. The Edfu texts describe a lost and sacred homeland known as Atlantis. And this is where Thoth ruled as a teacher and preserved its knowledge after the cataclysm. It is said that Egypt is a seedbed for Atlantean teachings. The cataclysm refers to the great collapse of the Golden Age. So you had massive floods, earthquakes, celestial disturbances, decay of spiritual wisdom, basically a descendance into ego. Others claim that his origin stretches even deeper into time. Now, at the risk of going into quote-unquote conspiracy, the Sumerian myth associates Thoth with Enki's line of gods that guided human evolution. Other researchers trace him to the constellation Cygnus with advanced avian beings known as the Carians. Anyway, whether primordial, whether Atlantean, whether extraterrestrial, or whether transcendent, all the legends converge on one truth. Thoth was a bridge between worlds: human, divine; matter, spirit; time, eternity. I like to call him the custodian of universal knowledge. By the way, just like Thoth sits at the heart of Egyptian wisdom, Enki sits at the heart of ancient Mesopotamian wisdom. So they are the same archetype, but different cultural lens. When the Hellenic Greeks entered Egypt and they encountered stories of Thoth, they were like, wait a minute, we have the same being. So in their own tradition, Hermes, messenger of the gods. Now, like Thoth, he was a psychopomp. They guided souls from the world of the living to the afterlife. From this, a new deity was born that came to be known as Hermes Trismegistus. Hermes, the thrice great. Thrice great signified mastery over the three realms: heaven, so the divine plane; earth, the material plane; and the underworld, the soul realm, or the unseen. You can say Hermes Trismegistus was a cosmic initiate that understood all the laws governing all layers of existence. And from this emerged the mystical tradition of Hermeticism. Hermes was revered as the divine author of the Hermetica, a body of sacred texts containing cosmology, alchemy, metaphysics, astrology, and studies on the immortality of the soul. These are like the initiatory texts. You can also say thrice great because he mastered the three sacred wisdoms of the ancient world, which was first alchemy, the science of transformation. This is not just turning lead into gold. This is transforming the self from base consciousness to spiritual gold. Astrology, the cosmos and the human psyche mirror each other. And theurgy, which is God work. This is sacred ritual, communion with higher realms. Thrice great master of body, mind, spirit. The complete philosopher, the complete initiate, the complete being. This is why he's remembered as the archetype of the eternal teacher. There are two astonishing themes when it comes to Thoth. So he could be a recurring intelligence, so a successively reincarnating figure, or he could be a sphere of intelligence that is accessible through altered states like dreams, visions, meditation, psychedelics. In esoteric teachings, Thoth is not limited to a body or to a human personality. He is descended like a field of consciousness, sort of like the internet. An initiate can log in and receive insights. Ancient texts say that Thoth wrote 36,525 books. This is a complete library of universal knowledge. And this is mirrored in the cycles of time. 36,525 days is equal to 100 years of the Egyptian Sothic cycle. So Thoth is a frequency. Thoth is a state of awareness, a plane of intelligence. The same way mystical traditions speak of Christ consciousness, and Jesus was a vessel that learned to embody Christ consciousness, perhaps Thoth exists in the same vein. So what do you think? Is Thoth a reincarnate, or is he a vessel of truth and knowledge? Thank you for listening.